All right, it's the MMA analyst being joined by WEC rising star Mackens Semerzier. Thank you for your time.
Hey man, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, now you exploded onto the scene at WC 43 with the first round triangle choke, which won you upset of the year, on many mixed martial arts websites. But for you, it seemed like it really wasn't that big of an upset. Tell me about that fight, that moment, and the win, and when you knew you had that choke in.
I prepared myself well, and I know that I knew that I could lose the fight if I didn't, execute to the best of my abilities. And luckily enough, I was able to. Man, I think, he wasn't expecting that from me, and and I took advantage of the situation, which happens all the time in fights.
Coming off that win, you faced another tough challenge in Davidis Tervicius at WEC 46. Now, that one didn't go your way, and, that was your first MMA loss. How has that affected you, and, have you made any adjustments, and are you doing anything different now?
Absolutely. I've, from everything from going away to camp, I should be fighting in April on the 24th, tentatively right now, and I'm going to be going and training with Jeff Curran in Chicago. And he has a fight coming around that time, and his group of guys, solid guys. We're all under the Pedro Sauer banner, so we all kind of train together and hope for the best for each other, and just everything, just going to win the fight, knowing that every fight counts, and I am there to put on a show. But I think the people are going to be entertained just by my performance, just by me winning. Doing what it takes to win, not necessarily, trying to finish the guy in any prescribed amount of time. I was looking for a quick finish, and, he took advantage of it and, kind of caught me off guard. I was a little bit inexperienced, wanting to finish the guy so quick, and, he definitely took advantage of it, and I'm looking to fix that.
Who would be your your current training your coaches, your strength and conditioning coach, your striking coach, your grappler? How is that working for you right now?
It's working pretty good. I'm training. I brought on a new strength conditioning coach, which I work with. Good friend of mine. These are all just guys, man. Just guys I know. Everyone's in the training where I'm at, and everyone wants to do big things. And I'm still working with my jiu-jitsu team. We have 5 black belts at Lynx Academy. Working with those guys, still working with pretty much my same crew, except this time I'm going to go away to camp, so I don't have as many distractions, and focus and train twice a day like I'm supposed to, and do everything right, and hopefully come out with the win.
Now, there's always a little bit of talk about the WEC merging at some point into the UFC. What are your thoughts on that, and would you see that as a positive or a negative, or what would be the situation there?
As long as they keep the cards coming, I don't see how it could be a negative. They could mix us in, and then you wouldn't get with the problem that both promotions kind of have. It's like, obviously for the main, the UFC can do it because they have so many great fighters, and there's so much marketing behind them that they don't have to put on. They can put on fight nights, ultimate fight nights, and even sometimes with really good fighters put on main pay-per-view cards without there being a title on the line. I don't think the WC has reached that level yet. So, with only 3 weight classes and 3 champions to go around, so a lot of times you get some of this intern stuff just to get a 5-round fight in there somewhere, so the fans would be more interested in the fight. And and that happens in the UFC also. You have the 5, you have the 5 titles, and sometimes you see some intern stuff and some stuff going on that doesn't necessarily have to happen if you have those other 3 weight classes. And then we have 8 weight classes, kind of like, boxing did in the beginning. They had 8 original weight classes, and, we could bring those 8 weight classes under one banner. I don't see how it would be bad for anyone. It definitely helps the guys, especially the guys from WC. I know personally, we just don't make as much money. And it's not like, we're crying about being millionaires, but, it's hard to train full time when you're just barely getting by. It's hard to focus when you're like, man, I wonder how I'm going to pay the rent this month. This stuff kind of gets to you a little bit.
I hear you. Now you were talking about the boxing and the 8 weight classes. Now let's take it back a little bit to 1999. You began boxing after signing on to the U.S. Marines, and then took up martial arts through a U.S. Marines martial arts program. Looking back, what was the level of instruction and what elements of MMA were actually taught?
Everything. It was just different direction. You learn striking, you learn takedowns, and you learn ground control and how to finish the fight on the ground. That's what essentially MMA is when you really get down to it. Is striking, closing the distance, the clinch, taking the guy down to the ground, controlling him on the ground, and ending the fight. So, all in all, it's all in there. It's just put together a little bit different. Because the end result, it's not a sport. The end result is to hurt the guy, neutralize the guy, do whatever you have to do to finish him off.
And now, everybody hears about the military discipline and the training, but most don't experience it firsthand. Is it as strict as it's portrayed? And, has it helped you in your MMA career?
Oh, absolutely. It is. It is strict. It is just as you see without all the, smacking around and stuff. But it is an alpha male dominated environment, and if you're not, one alpha males, you're gonna get kind of walked on. So especially, I can speak to the Marine Corps because I was in the Marine Corps. That it's a tough place, and it produces tough guys, and that's what this country needs to protect it. You need tough guys. You don't need guys that are going to second guess their abilities or second guess, whether they're willing to, die for what they believe in. You need guys that are going to go and protect those that can't protect themselves, pretty much.
Are you still active?
No, I was actually. I got out on an honorable discharge in 2007.
You are of Haitian background, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how did that recent tragedy affect your life? And do you have family that is in in Haiti?
Mostly it's my mother's side of the family. A lot of my father's side lives in the States now, but a lot of my mother's family lives in Haiti, and it's just hard times. Watching my mom, be for like 2 weeks, no phone calls, no anything, no communication for I think over 10 days. It was very stressful to her, and that's my mom. I'm pretty much a mama's boy, and seeing my mom go through that really hurt me, and but luckily everyone was okay. In my mom's family, on my mom's side, that was there, so I was happy about that. But it's just a tragedy, man. Just watching people go through that stuff is just tough, and then you have people that could care less. I don't know how you can watch any human being go through something like that and not have some type of feeling about it, not have some sympathy. So, it's hard for me, especially, but I know it's hard for everyone else to watch.
Right. Now, I did see that, that call you had on your YouTube account. And now, speaking of the YouTube account, it definitely appears that, Mack the Menace loves, being behind that camera and catching some good footage. What other networking tools are you using? And as a fighter, how important do you think it is to get your name out there?
I think it's important, just to get your name out there, because like with fighting, the best guy isn't always the best guy. You know what I mean? Like the best fighter isn't always the best fighter. The best fighter is who the media and the people say is the best fighter. So if you can get enough people around you to build a mystique around yourself that you are the best fighter, or you deserve this, you deserve that, then that's what's going to happen. So there's two routes to go about it. If you want to go the quicker route, you get media attention behind you, and you're placed on, on the main card, and you put in position to showcase your skills. If you don't, you can say nothing and be a guy that's 25-0, and no one knows about you. No one's ever heard about you. Just the people whispering about you, which just isn't enough nowadays. So, it doesn't hurt to get on the camera. And if you got something to say, something positive to say, why not? Why not put it out there for the world to see? I know as a young fighter, as a fan of the sport coming up, I always wanted to know what the guys are doing. I was the fan. I want to see what guys are doing. What techniques are you doing? What are you doing today? What's going on in what's going on in your world? Am I training correctly? Am I doing the right things? And the only way nowadays, the only way you guys are gonna know that is through the media, through social networking.
Right. Now, in your opinion, who is the best guy out there right now? Weight class doesn't really matter. And, coming up in the game, whether it be boxing or MMA or whatever, who really caught your attention as a kid? Who was, you would say your idols were?
I think when I was very first introduced to combatives, it was Mike Tyson. Like I remember watching Mike Tyson knock out Michael Spinks in the first round, and that was the very first fight I ever watched. I ever remember watching, anyways. And I was always like, whoa, you know. And Mike was a guy that when he lost against Buster Douglas, it was like the mystique was. I mean, the mystique Mike had was greater than anyone has ever had in any sport. If Mike Tyson walked in the room, everyone was scared. Whether you were his friend or you weren't his friend, you know what I mean? You knew that, you know, you were a little bit uncomfortable. You can't say that about a lot of fighters. You know, Muhammad Ali or, you know, or Larry Holmes or any other great fighters, you know, besides Sonny Liston, I think he was crazy, but besides, you know, any of the great fighters walk into a room, no one would be scared. Everyone would be friendly, want to go talk to him, not Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, one of those guys, you knew he was about his business.
You know, it seems like you're a fan of boxing, you know, back in the day. Are you still a fan of boxing?
Absolutely, man. I love boxing. I think boxing gets a bad rep. It's like it's one of those things. If you're a fight fan and you say you don't like boxing, you're not really a fight fan. You're just an MMA groupie or something. You know what I mean? You cannot say you love fighting. You love fighting and not be a boxing fan and not appreciate a good boxing match. And then you get people that say, well, the boxing matches I watch suck on TV. I've seen a lot of sucky-ass MMA fights, too. I've seen fights that are terrible. You know what I mean? Even with two good guys, I've seen fights, you're like, what did I just pay for? You know what I mean?
Right.
Anderson Silva, Tauslis, in point. That fight I was like, what the hell is going on? This can't be, you're not serious right now, right? Like, the people just pay money and watch this? It's terrible. But, sometimes it happens like that. When you get two high-level guys, a lot of defense is played, and, guys don't want to lose. They know the first person to make a mistake is going to lose the fight because they're so good. Guys are good at capitalizing on mistakes. So,
right.
I love boxing, and everyone else should too.
Who do you blame for the biggest fight in 25 years falling through? Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Who do you blame? Do you think, one of them was afraid of the test? Or especially with Mayweather fighting Mosley, it's just, what do you think?
I think it was two divas. No matter how much we love, people love Manny Pacquiao. He's a diva too, just like Mayweather's a diva. He's a diva Pacquiao's a diva that doesn't speak English that well. You know what I mean? He's a diva too. Don't be fooled. He likes the attention. He likes what's going on. He doesn't talk as much trash because it's just not his nature. I think Floyd had to do it to get noticed, just like we're talking about guys that need to get noticed to be presented. Mayweather was asking to fight Mosley years ago when Mosley was fighting De La Hoya, and he said no because Mayweather wasn't a big enough name. He wasn't a big enough name to make money on, so he said no. Now the tables have turned. I think Pacquiao, in turn is, finally starting to get the light, and he enjoys it, man. That's why he can't even sing, and he has a #1 album in the Philippines. Come on, man. I heard him do freaking karaoke, and I was like, that sucks, man. But he's an outstanding fighter. So I had both guys, both teams, Bob Arum, Mayweather Promotions. They're all to blame. All those guys involved, all those guys in that room are to blame, and it's ego, man. It's machismo. It's all testosterone. One guy doesn't want to bend. No one wants to be told what to do, especially when you're a multimillionaire. Who's going to tell you what to do? You know what I mean? And both guys believe they're the #1 pound fighter in the world. They're not going to be told what to do. Right.
I
blame them both.
Now, finally, is there anything you want to say to the MMA fans out there, to the boxing fans, to the fight fans out there? Well, what does Mack the Menace have to say to them?
Man, live life, man. Don't judge a person by their fight. Fighting is our passion. Fighting is our luckily enough, is our job. Fighting is what we do. But just because you might hear one of the sound bites and the guy is saying something, or you might hear another sound bite, guy saying something, you shouldn't say you don't like him from that sound bite because we didn't make the sound bite. We didn't edit it. You know what I mean? We're not the media. We're not the guys behind the camera. So we're all good guys at heart. We might not be friends, but we're all cordial to each other when we see each other. And, we always want to put on the best show for you guys. Sometimes it doesn't come out that way, but we always do. And be looking out for me. I'm going to try my best to win out the rest of this year. I feel like I embarrassed myself in my last fight, and I'm going to come and I'm going to rectify the situation. Return to the scene of crime, Sacramento, August 24th, WC 48.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you very much. And good luck with your future bout. And, hopefully 2010, brings a lot of success to you.